You know that sinking feeling when you look at your electric car's dashboard and see a battery error message staring back at you? It hits like a bucket of ice water on a hot summer day in Phoenix. Let me share something I discovered after a lot of research and conversations with specialized EV mechanics. Most electric car owners in the US have no idea how to tell when it's worth repairing the battery versus when it's time to cut their losses. And when that repair quote lands in your inbox, the sticker shock is real. But don't panic, because today I'm going to walk you through everything, start to finish, no filler and no fluff. Stick with me to the end of this video because you're going to learn exactly what to do when your EV battery acts up, and I promise this information will save you a serious amount of money. Before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button right now, ring the bell, and drop a like, because we put out real, no-nonsense content about electric cars in America, no dealership spin, and no YouTube guru hype. Let me start with a question someone asked me last week at a backyard cookout here in California. A buddy goes, "Dude, I heard that when an EV battery dies, the whole car is basically totaled and you have to buy a brand new one. Is that true?" I looked at him and thought, either someone completely clueless told him that, or someone who really wants to sell him a new car. This urban legend is spreading like wildfire on neighborhood Facebook groups, and it does real damage because it keeps perfectly reasonable people away from EVs before they even understand how the market works. The truth, my friend, is a whole lot more interesting and a whole lot more nuanced than that bar talk. An EV battery is not some mysterious monolithic block that goes straight to the junkyard when it fails. It's a pack made up of modules, and each module is made up of individual cells. Think of it like a sleeve of Oreos stacked up, each layer doing its job. When one layer fails, in most cases, you do not need to toss the whole sleeve out. But here's the thing. I said in most cases, not all cases, and that distinction is exactly what separates a $2,000 repair bill from a situation where you're seriously considering selling a kidney to cover the cost. So let's get into what actually matters. What are the variables you need to look at before making any decision about your EV battery? The first variable, and arguably the most important, is the cost of a brand new replacement battery pack in the US market today. I'm going to give you real numbers here. No sugarcoating, no wishful thinking. A new battery for a Chevy Bolt with its 65 kilowatt-hour pack runs around $8,000 to $9,000 in the US. The battery for a Tesla Model 3 long range, that fan favorite among rideshare drivers dreaming of going electric, jumps to somewhere in the $13,000 to $16,000 range. And the battery for a Volkswagen ID.4 with its 82 kilowatt-hour pack can easily push past $20,000, depending on what the supply chain looks like that week, because that's just the reality of the EV parts market right now. Now do this mental exercise with me. If your trusted mechanic, the one you've known for years and who has never jerked you around, looks you in the eye and says the problem is in just one module and fixing it will cost $2,000 while a full new battery runs $20,000, the math is a no-brainer. Fix it without blinking. But if your car has 10 years of hard miles on it, has driven around 150,000 miles on American highways, including those rough stretches of I-10 or I-95 that rattle every bolt in the chassis, and the rest of the battery is running at only 70% of its original capacity, according to the state of health indicator, that SOH number your EV tech talks about, then fixing one module is just solving today's problem so you can deal with tomorrow's. You're paying money to postpone the inevitable. Now we get to the second variable, which is where automakers show whether they actually thought about the owner or just about their own profit margins. I'm talking about battery architecture, and the differences here are so stark it's like comparing night and day. Some manufacturers design the battery with future serviceability in mind, and then there are manufacturers who seem to have specifically hired engineers to make repair impossible. BMW did their homework with the i3. Its battery is divided into 8 accessible modules that can be swapped out independently, and the car recognizes the changes without any of that nightmare reprogramming that drives independent mechanics up the wall. The practical result, there's a solid aftermarket of BMW EV specialists here in the US, particularly in California and the Northeast, that keeps these cars running for a fraction of the cost of a new pack. Tesla, especially in their newer models with the 4680 cells, is the opposite example. The American brand started using the battery pack as a structural element integrated directly into the chassis, and in many cases fills the internal space with a rigid foam resin for both rigidity and thermal insulation.
The practical result is that repairing the battery on a newer Tesla is like trying to crack open a Capri Sun pouch without spilling it, nearly impossible with specialized equipment and Tesla's own authorization. In those cases, you need to replace the entire pack, and your wallet takes a serious beating. The Hyundai and Kia Group, with their EGMP platform models that are becoming more and more common on American roads, like the Ioniq 5 and the EV6, land in a positive middle ground. The modular design of these cars allows entire battery sections to be swapped with relative ease, which drives down both parts costs and specialized labor costs. Let me tell you a real story that perfectly illustrates why this matters. A Tesla Model S owner here in the US had his car completely locked down in his garage because Tesla's system detected minor battery damage after a small fender bender in a parking lot. The insurance company declared it a total loss. The guy was left without a car and still had a car payment to make. Meanwhile, a BMW i3 owner in the Los Angeles area took his car to an independent EV specialist, replaced 2 modules for around $4,500, and the car drove out like nothing ever happened. Same scenario, completely different outcomes. What changed? The battery architecture.
Now let me give you a brand-by-brand breakdown so you have a clear picture of where the US market stands today. Starting with BMW, the i3 and i4 are relatively straightforward to work on, and the i3 in particular has built a strong independent maintenance ecosystem here in the US that works really well. Used modules from salvage yards make their way into specialized shops, and the car gets back on the road for a fraction of the price of a new part. The Volkswagen Group, which includes Audi, Volkswagen, Skoda, and Seat, in theory, dealerships can replace individual modules. The big problem here in the US is the dealer labor rates are absolutely brutal, which often makes the gap between repairing and replacing the whole pack much smaller than it should be. By the time you pay a dealer tech to dig in, you're almost at the cost of just replacing everything. Hyundai and Kia, currently among the best in the market on this front. They supply separate modules, have specialized equipment to balance the parts before installation, and properly train their technicians. A smart long-term choice if you're shopping for an EV in the US. Toyota and Lexus, the undisputed kings of nickel-metal hydride batteries. These are the most repaired hybrid batteries in the US and the world. Specialized shops replace the problem cells at a fraction of the cost of a new pack, and the car rolls on smoothly for another 100,000+ miles. With their newer lithium generations, they carry that same owner-friendly philosophy forward. Nissan Leaf, the most common EV in the used car market in the US, and one that really struggles in hot climates like Texas, Arizona, and Florida, because the early generations had no active liquid cooling system for the battery. The upside is that there is so much used parts inventory and accumulated knowledge among specialized mechanics that finding a reconditioned battery or used modules from a salvage yard is genuinely easy. Chevy Bolt, repairable, but GM has always been pretty locked down with proprietary software. You need brand-specific diagnostic tools for the car to accept a new component without throwing errors. Without those tools, the car simply rejects the transplant. Tesla, by far the most complicated to work on in the US. On older Model S and Model X cars, module-level repairs are possible, but on the newer models with structural battery packs, cell-level repair is simply outside the capability of most American independent shops today. If you've made it this far and you're enjoying the content, hit that like button now and drop a comment telling me what EV brand you own or are thinking about buying, because this kind of maintenance detail is exactly what most people completely overlook when they're shopping for a car. Now I want to tell you about something that went down in Ukraine and became a big talking point in the EV world. Because Tesla is so locked down with its software and electronics, when the company declares a US car a total loss due to battery damage, even minor damage, the vehicle gets completely bricked by the system. A lot of those cars ended up in Eastern European shops where talented hackers and brilliant mechanics cracked open the packs, cleaned out the corrosion, swapped out damaged cells with ones pulled from wrecked cars, and tricked the software into thinking the car was back from the dead. It's cyber salvage operating at full speed.
Right here in the US, some forward-thinking independent mechanics are already studying these techniques. The market is in its early stages, but it's moving in the right direction. And speaking of the future, let's talk about solid-state batteries, which everyone in the auto industry is buzzing about. They promise longer range and a dramatically lower fire risk, which is the nightmare scenario every EV owner in the US thinks about. But the critical point that almost nobody mentions is that repairability could be even more difficult than today's packs. Because they are a solid, compact block with no liquid electrolyte, cracking one of these open without destroying the internal structure is a serious engineering challenge. CATL, which makes batteries for nearly every major brand on the planet, has announced service programs promising to cut costs by up to 80%, and has started standardizing modules so that an independent shop can order genuine parts without going through a dealership. That would be a genuine revolution and would completely change the game in the US, where the cost of ownership after the sale has always been a sore spot for EV skeptics. But bringing it back to the present and what matters right now, let me give you a clear list of when it is not worth repairing your EV battery in the US. First case, when the degradation is widespread and uniform. If all the cells are running below 70% of their original capacity, replacing just one section does not solve the problem. The high internal resistance of the worn-out cells will cause the new section to degrade much faster. It's like replacing the baldest tire on a set of 4 and expecting the car to handle well. Second case, damage caused by flooding or water intrusion. In the US, this is really real, especially after hurricanes in states like Florida, Louisiana, and the Carolinas. Water and lithium is a combination with no cheap fix. If the battery pack was submerged, internal corrosion works silently and progressively. Do not risk your money trying to save a battery that was genuinely soaked. Third case, when the repair cost exceeds 60% of the car's current private party market value. At that point, it's smarter to sell the car to a salvage yard and use the money as a down payment on another vehicle. Time for the car of the day, and today I picked the 2016 Mitsubishi Outlander PHV because it's a perfect example of smart engineering applied to battery longevity. The Outlander PHV was a pioneer in this segment, and its battery pack is among the most accessible to service. No structural adhesive that is impossible to remove. Everything is bolted together with that typical Japanese precision that takes quality seriously. This has meant that nearly 10 years later, many owners across the US are giving their cars a second life, replacing only the faulty modules for a few $1,000s and keeping a plug-in hybrid SUV running perfectly for a fraction of the price of a new one. It is the triumph of common sense over the planned obsolescence that certain automakers seem to love.
Now let me answer a question that came in through the channel that I thought was really relevant. Someone asked, if I leave my electric car parked outside in the sun all summer here in Phoenix, will the battery get destroyed? I'll be straight with you, it will not melt. But intense heat combined with humidity, which is exactly what you get in Florida, Texas, and the Gulf Coast in summer, is one of the worst enemies of lithium. This is especially true in cars like the early Nissan Leaf that had no adequate thermal management system for the battery. My practical advice? Whenever possible, park in the shade, in a covered garage, or in a cooler spot. It seems like a small thing, but it makes a real difference in battery life over the long haul. Another interesting question was whether there will be classic electric cars 30 years from now. In my view, absolutely yes. The restorers of the future will need to master battery knowledge and will be dropping modern packs into old EVs that improve on the original range. I believe models like the BMW i3, the early Teslas, and even the original Leaf could become valued classics precisely because they were pioneers at a historic turning point in mobility. It's the same thing that happened with the original VW Bug or the Ford Model T. They became cultural touchstones people are passionate about preserving.
Before we wrap up, let me do a quick recap of everything we covered today so it sticks. An EV battery is not a death sentence for most cars. It is repairable in most cases, but the viability depends on three factors: the cost of a new battery compared to the repair, the design architecture of the car, which determines whether module-level work is even possible, and the overall condition of the battery as shown by the state of health indicator. Brands like BMW, Hyundai, Kia, Toyota, and Nissan make repairs straightforward. Tesla on recent models makes it extremely difficult. Volkswagen, Audi, and Chevy fall in the middle, depending on access to the right diagnostic tools. It is not worth repairing when the degradation is widespread, when there was water damage, or when the repair exceeds 60% of the car's current market value. The U.S. market for specialized EV battery repair is still growing, but solid options already exist in most major metro areas. And the trend is toward lower costs as more technicians specialize and more used parts flow through the salvage market. If you enjoyed this content and want to learn more about EVs in America, the real story with no showroom polish, drop a comment below and tell me your biggest question about electric car batteries. No such thing as a dumb question here, because that is exactly what this channel is for. Subscribe, hit the bell, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks a lot!